Hey, it's Mark Watch from MTC Media. Georgetown will try to break an 11-game losing streak when they travel to DePaul. The Hoyas' only conference win came against DePaul earlier this season. DePaul does not have any conference win at all. In fact, for Georgetown, it's probably their most realistic win left on their schedule. In the first matchup, Georgetown defeated DePaul 68-65. The biggest change since then is the fact that Tony Stubblefield is no longer the coach of DePaul. Matt Brady took over, and since then, the Blue Demons have been 0-8, having lost every game by double digits. For those who partake in this, Georgetown will be a 2.5-point favorite with an over-under of 149.5. Ken Palm predicts the score as Georgetown getting a victory 77-74. The Hoyas are coming off a 5-point loss to St. John's, but that's a little bit misleading. St. John's did lead a lot of that game by double digits. Georgetown did stage a late game comeback, getting it to within 2 with about 44 seconds left before the game ended with a 5-point St. John's victory. Earlier in the week, we had media availability where we got to chat it up with Ed Cooley, the head coach of Georgetown, and Rowan Brumbaugh. Check out the interview.
All right. At the post-mortem, have you looked at the tape? Have you checked it out? Did you evaluate or reevaluate it?
I mean, you always watch the tape afterwards, and that's why you can't always go off the cuff right away. You kind of got some memory of some things. Defensively, you got to do a better job. Across the board, from coaching to playing to execution. Defensively, at every front, we got to do a better job.
Do you think we'll see more of that pressure that you have kind of help you out to go full court, three-quarters court, maybe to speed up the game a little bit, get more easy baskets?
The game's being played. Again, I think there's a fine balance based on, we don't have as much depth as we want, right? So, I think we're going to have to pull it on and pull it off. I think you gave us some energy, right? Over the course of 40 minutes, it's very, very hard to press 40 minutes. So, we'll have it in our repertoire, but see more of it, it all depends on how the game is being played.
Give us the pros and cons of Rowan as you see it now. What has he done well? What does he need to do better?
I'm always on our point guards to be better communicators. I think Rowan is improving with that, but I still think he has a long way to go to, when you're the point guard as is the quarterback, you have to communicate again, and then communicate more in order to build that confidence within your team. You got to have a fine balance of defense and offense, when to score, when not to score, who you got to get the ball to. You have to be a maestro when you're in that position, and I think he's growing into it.
Do you lean on the point guards a little harder than the other positions?
Yes. I mean, I'm brutal on the point guard, and it's a method to that madness. Hopefully, by their second and definitely by their third year, they're running the organization from an offensive standpoint and defensive standpoint.
How much do you balance what you saw out of DePaul the first time you played them with where your team is right now and where they've done like the last 5 games or 3 games? Do you look at more of how they've played of late or how they played against you the first time?
I think the first time we played them may have been January 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So, they have a couple of different players playing different roles right now. I don't think they're the same team. They have the same players. They have they run some of the same things, but I don't think they're the same team at all. I don't. I think they're a lot more physical. They got a little bit more length on the floor. But it's definitely not the same team we played January 6th. They're better than they were January 6th.
Are you familiar with Matt Brady at all?
I am. I coached against him when he was at Marist and I was at Fairfield. I've known him a long time. He does a really good job. And both teams are trying to scratch out a win. I mean, it's going to be a game of emotional and mental attrition.
How has this trying season improved you? What can you take out of this to be a better coach?
I think it's helped me become a better coach with patience. I think, trying different things, especially from a defensive standpoint. I don't know if I got better at it, but I've tried different things to know as we're building our program, things we can come to. Not having a post presence over the course of 40 minutes, how systematically you got to do things differently to score the ball. I think the overall experience has helped us all grow and learn. And, if you're not learning, you're dying. Right? So in our business, it's going to continue to evolve.
Results notwithstanding, how would you grade your coaching this year?
I would grade my coaching an F minus. F minus.
Results notwithstanding, don't make a difference.
F minus. I gotta do a better job. I got to be better on every front as well, and it all starts with me, right? You never point the finger; you point it at yourself. I got to do a much better job. I may be being harsh, but if I'm being real, and I don't think you can say results withstanding. I think we're A plus doing things that nobody sees. But when nobody sees, you know, they don't judge you on what they can't see. So that's why I say that. I think we're A plus in a lot of different ways. But for what the naked eye sees, I have not done a good job.
All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm trying to be more of a facilitator and get back to my original playmaking abilities.
Is that what the coach has been stressing? To get back to that, or is that just a determination you made?
Nah, just watching my film. I
Oh,
kinda
okay.
figured it out.
Speaking of film, how much do you watch?
I watch a good amount for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How would you characterize this year?
This year,
Yeah.
frustrating. Definitely frustrating. It sucks losing.
Have you always been that physical, getting into the post, being a guard, but being able to finish around the rim the way that you do? Because I noticed you'll back someone in and finish over them. Has that always been part of your game?
Not really, but I've been noticing more. Like with my size and the guards that are guarding me, I can do it more, and it works. Just watch a lot of film. Like I take wide angles sometimes instead of taking straight angles, and that helps me be able to be more physical and score.
And it looks like you've kind of gained some traction shooting your three-point shot on that swing or on that skip, the corner three. Obviously, you feel comfortable with that. Is that something that is just part of the offense, or have you just kind of been fading to the corner knowing it's a dead spot?
I'm just trying to keep the best spacing possible, and I know when the defense helps, that back corner will be open, so I try to get there sometimes.
What has Doug Dormuth meant to your game?
Oh, he's the best. I've been with him since 6th grade, and he changed my whole perspective on basketball. Doing player developers in the city, and the best for that matter.
Do you remember when he brought you to our summer league up at Roosevelt?
Yeah.
You were a young lad.
Yeah, I was real little.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I remember that.
You've grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
How on the court have you grown?
I'd say my playmaking ability and my shooting, my scoring, just
You're more confident now.
yeah, just trusting Coach Doug, trusting God, trusting the work I put in. Yeah.
Good.
The keys for Georgetown today: efficient EPS. Georgetown needs EPS, the EPS that showed up against St. John's, who's 10 for 14 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, finishing with 31 points. In the first meeting, EPS only had 10, but he had a solid game with 5 assists and 2 turnovers. The less late shot clock shots he takes, the better it is for EPS, and you see his numbers really improve when that happens. One of the things against St. John's was he was able to get downhill pretty consistently, and that kind of opened up his game. You could literally see the confidence growing on his face as the game went on. Supremely superior. The Hoyers are so much better on offense when Supreme Cook gets plenty of touches in the post and he actually finishes. And that is one of the things that he needs to improve on. And we're late in the year, so I don't know how much that's going to happen. He brings the ball down way too much and he gets stripped. At least 2 or 3 times he got stripped against St. John's. He's gotten stripped all season, or he has a hard time finishing over bigger players and when he's being contested close there. And those are shots and points that when you're Georgetown, you need. Now, the first time they met, Cook had 14 points. And what was important was he was 8 for 12 from the free throw line in that first meeting. Hold down Henley. My thing is, when I look at how DePaul's been playing, especially under Matt Brady, Jaden Henley might be the most dangerous guy to Georgetown today. In fact, even under Stubblefield, the first game against Georgetown, Henley had 17 points. And he's averaging a little bit over 16 points in his last 3 games. And that's one of the things that Georgetown will have to do, is not let him get on. And my thing is, force him to shoot the 3. He's a 28% three-point shooter. Don't let him. If you look at a lot of his baskets, he's getting downhill. and he's able to muck it up and get in the lane and do all those things to get his points. So my thing is make him a jump shooter or dare him to be a jump shooter. If he gets in the lane, you got a wall, but Georgetown's not good into getting in the help, so I don't know how much walling they'll be able to do. But those are the keys for Georgetown. Georgetown-DePaul, 6 p.m. on CBS Sports.